Hello, my name is Jessica. Can you imagine living on only $15,000 a year? Well, millions of Americans do this every day while making minimum wage at a full-time job. The United States Department of Labor states that the 2016 minimum wage is $7.25 an hour and has been for almost a decade despite the cost of living increasing every single year. This amounts to $290 a week and $15,000 a year at full-time hours, of course, and before taxes. I have survived many years working part-time at minimum wage jobs, and I have thoroughly researched the topic of the federal minimum wage and the controversy over raising the minimum wage, as well as the federal poverty guidelines. I propose that our government be encouraged to increase the federal minimum wage to reduce the number of people living below the federal poverty guideline. However, not everyone agrees, as evident as it hasn't been increased in the last decade. Those against an increase in the federal minimum wage say that by doing so, there will be less jobs and more jobs done by machines. They also say that businesses will either be forced to close or inflate their prices so that they can afford to pay people the increase. Their last argument is that this country is already bankrupt, and so we cannot afford to increase our federal minimum wage. However, many of these statements are fallacies. Automation, which is machines doing the work of people, has already been occurring for more than a decade. More and more services are being done by machines, and the minimum wage was not raised during this time. So it is a fallacy to say that increasing the minimum wage will increase automation. Additionally, while it might be the case that some businesses can't afford to pay a huge increase in salaries to people, however, there's options that aren't just going out of business or, increasing your wages. I think that cutting back useless positions is a good way to start. At every job I have ever had, there's always at least that one person where you're like, why are you even here? What are you doing working here? They don't do their job well, they're lazy, they're chronically late. Those types of positions can be eliminated and save every business some money. And in regards to the country not being able to afford a price increase, according to CNN, there are almost a dozen other countries with minimum wages above ours. These minimum wages range from $10 to $15 an hour. Further, these countries do not have debt to the extent of the United States. Thus, it's a fallacy to say that this country is broke and cannot afford to pay people enough to live. In conclusion, those opposed to the increase in the federal minimum wage say that by doing so would force businesses to close or increase their prices. It would mean less jobs for people and increase in automation, and that the country is broke and can't afford it. However, automation has already been occurring without an increase in the minimum wage. There are other alternatives to businesses just going out of business or inflating their prices, and other countries have raised their minimum wages without going into debt. Increasing the federal minimum wage will greatly help a large number of people out of poverty. It will allow people to build better lives, better families, and better communities. I propose that the government do what is best for the public and raise the minimum wage so that people can overcome poverty and begin to live their lives.